Good morning. I am so excited to be here. Woo! Okay, can you hear me a little bit better? Okay. Some of you know me, and it's always a blessing to be here at CBCS. So I gotta look at my time here. I don't have much time because actually I'm going to the barn because we do group therapy and individual therapy there at the barn. And so I have a client coming in and very shortly. But it's a joy to be here. It's a privilege. And I have to be quite honest with you that I am so blessed to just be here and watch all of you worship. I mean, I just could cry over it because to see the love that you have for one another is so special. And what I want to talk about really briefly today is just empathy. What does that even mean? Sympathy, empathy. And you guys are at the most amazing stage of life right now because your brain is maturing at such an amazing way that now you know what it's like to care. I mean, really care and really care about one another. So let's give an example of sympathy versus empathy. So I'm going to read this. Sympathy is an emotion that's experienced in reaction to something that happens to others. Something happens to others and you go, oh, okay. When someone understands that another person is going through and feels sorrow or pity for them, this is sympathy. Okay, so let's say like you go to lunch. You guys have a lunch card or something, right? And you have money on that card. And somebody goes up and says, and then this comes up zero. And the person behind goes, oh, I've had that happen to me before. That stinks, and the person in front of them still has no money, right? And then person doesn't do anything about it. Oh, I feel really bad for you. I guess you'll have to wait till you go home to eat. So that person has sympathy, right? Because they're like, oh, I know what that feels like. I'm going to have to wait to go home to eat. Okay, that's kind of like sympathy. I can sympathize with you. I kind of have pity for you. I kind of have sorrow for you. Okay, but then there's empathy. Empathy is the ability to intimately feel and see another one's suffering, not just through understanding what they're going through, but being able to put themselves in someone else's shoes. And empathy can really move us to action. So let's use the same scenario, right? If somebody's empathetic and that person's got money on their card, what could that person do with empathy? Someone want to raise a hand? What do you think? Oh, awesome. Right? You could help that person out. Exactly. That's empathy. And I think that the greatest empathy that we could really, truly understand is what Christ did for us on the cross. It really hit me the other day, praying for everybody here. It really hit me because we always talk about the sacrifice that Christ made on the cross. And we hear that, the sacrifice. But Jesus was empathetic, not just sympathetic. He didn't say, oh, I feel bad. There's hell, and maybe there's not going to be a way for them to get to heaven. So Jesus' sacrifice was an empathetic sacrifice. And I never saw it like that before. And I'm trusting with where your brain maturation is now, that you can begin to understand what Christ really did. He empathized. That's why he healed. He wanted the blind person to see. He wanted the woman who was hemorrhaging to stop. If he didn't empathize, he wouldn't have healed. He wouldn't have reached out. He wouldn't have reached down and made the clay and put it over the eyes. He would have said, oh, that's awful to be bleeding like that. Oh, that's terrible. You can't see. But Jesus went the next step, like the young guy said. He stepped out and said, here, I'm going to do more than just feel pity and sorrow for you. So that was just a real awakening for me to understand the empathy that Christ had for us, so much so that he sacrificed himself for us. And I loved during worship just watching you guys just wrap your arms around one another. That's empathy. You guys have that in your worship time together. And I thought that was just so beautiful. I just really want to encourage that more and more, that you begin to ask God, what can I do to be more empathetic? And here's another thing. You guys all hear about IQ, right? How intelligent are we? How important is that? It is important. But there's another thing called EQ. Does anybody know what EQ is? Everyone's kind of got, what the heck is that? EQ is emotional intelligence. What's that? Empathy is a sign of emotional intelligence. Okay? Why? Because it gets us outside of ourselves. Right now, okay, you guys are old enough. You're not like 3 years old or, it's mine. And mommy and dad are happy to teach you, right, how to share. You're not at that age anymore. But you know what? You live in a me world. Social media platforms, okay? The internet. We can't get away from how that's drawing us into more of ourselves. And we're not being other conscious. I want to challenge you. It's good to be aware of yourself. It's good to be aware of your needs. But it's also good to be aware of someone else's needs and think like Christ and be empathetic. So EQ is emotional intelligence. And the research shows which one makes somebody more successful, IQ or EQ? What do you think? Think it's IQ? You think it's EQ? Right. It's EQ. It's emotional intelligence, because you could be the brightest person in the world, but not give a darn about anything else, not be relational, not be connected. That person isn't going to be successful, because God's created us to be connected and to be relational. And what I saw this morning was you guys being relational, you guys being connected. So you're on your way to having a higher EQ as well as IQ. And that's my prayer, that your EQ will increase and increase, so you will be successful in life. And that's because you'll be happier. When you can give of yourself to others, not just feel pity and sorrow, but in the pity and sorrow, say, I'm going to do something. Like the young guy said, I'm going to pay for your lunch. I'll never forget, I went to go get coffee one day. Someone was in front of me, walked up, ordered my latte, and pulled out my wallet, and the gal said, you don't have to pay for it. I went, why? She said, the person in front of you bought it for you. Just a random act of kindness. I was like, really? Yeah, he said that he wanted to pay it forward. Have you guys heard that term before? Pay it forward? Yeah. So that means, you know what? Somebody gave and did for me, so I'm going to do that for somebody else. I love that. I love that. I love being able to do that. And honestly, I think that when we're paying it forward and we're the giver instead of the receiver, I think I feel more blessed, quite honestly, when I'm the one that's giving. Remember, we live in a me world. I want. But I'm going to challenge you to step outside of that and to pay it forward to someone else. Because all of us here are in a position, absolutely, where we can give of something of ourselves. So I'm going to challenge you with that. And so it's called Random Acts of Kindness. And so I've got a sheet of paper. If that can be distributed, thank you, everybody, for helping to distribute that. And you guys, according to Mr. Closter, you're going to be able to carry this on into your mentoring group. So this is like 100 random acts of kindness. And so I'm going to invite you to go through it, read through it, because you're going to continue this in your mentoring group. And not everything that's on there is something that you can do, okay? But you will find a number of things on there that you can do. All right. So heads up here, because I'm actually going to have to leave in 2 minutes, okay? I'm going to do a random act of kindness, and so I'm going to need a little bit of help. Again. So, okay. I'm going to have you open that up, and I'm going to have you take one and pass it around. So this is just kind of a random act of kindness that I'm going to do for you guys this morning. Okay. So take one and pass it around for each of you guys to have. All right. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of your chapel this morning. I'm going to encourage you again to look through the 100 random acts of kindness. Take the sheet home and share it with your family. And whatever's left over, I'm gonna give Mr. Klostra the challenge of giving the random act of kindness, if there's anything left over, to whoever he wants to pass it and pay it forward to. If there's anything left over, you can choose who you're going to pay it forward to. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. It's been a joy to be here, and I'm going to trust that.
Yeah. Give Arlene a big round of applause.
This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK-12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening, and stay tuned for more.